Hi everybody, it's Remy here. I am coming at you today with a collaboration with the Conscious Communications podcast. I'm doing a tarot reading for her listeners and anyone who these messages may come to via the internet or anything else. We are doing this tarot reading because her and I have an episode coming out on her podcast about tarot, and I wanted to give you guys some insight into my process. So I've got my setup all down here. I like to use fluorite and labradorite and smoky quartz in my readings, or white quartz depending on what I have around me, to help channel the energy down. I've cleansed my space with the smoke cleansing bundle, and I've pulled a couple cards here. I'm pulling cards from my Mystic Mondays tarot deck. If need be, I'll also be referencing my Moonology Oracle cards, and I'm going to be referencing my How to Read Tarot book just to get a base of the meanings of these cards before I give my interpretation of what they mean together. So our first card is the Nine of Swords reversed. Get an idea of what that looks like. Our second card is the Five of Cups. And our third card is the Magician. So as you can tell from the Nine of Swords, this girl's got a lot of problems hanging over her head. She's curled up in a protective ball. She looks anguished and in pain. The Nine of Swords speaks of anxiety, tension, unhappiness, despair, and regret over the past mistakes, things that have already happened. It also indicates that a lot of the suffering is happening internally in your mind and not in your outer situation. Placement of the Nine of Swords indicates that we need to do some evaluation over the situations in our life and decide if things are serving us, go over old beliefs and see if those are still working for us. And basically it says that we need to be honest with ourselves and face our problems. This girl is not facing her problems. She's avoiding them, and she's only going to be able to get those swords out from over her head when she faces the problem and confronts what's really going on and is honest with herself so that she can gain some insight. So our next card is the Five of Cups. Once again, that's what it looks like. So we've got some cups facing one way, some cups facing the other. Now, Cups is the card that deals with emotions and our intuitive state, and Swords, I believe, so Swords represent events, conditions, situations, and attitudes that are difficult or challenging, and can also represent growth and development. This is referring to a situation or something or several things that have happened that are causing you anguish, and this is referring to your emotional state. The Five of Cups signifies that you are kind of overthinking, you are dwelling on things that have happened in the past, much like the Nine of Swords. You are brooding and dwelling, and it also, like the Nine of Swords, indicates that you're not looking towards the future and that you're kind of stuck in the past. And it also indicates that you have a choice in the matter. As you can see here, the cups are facing different ways. You could see them as half empty, or you could see them as half full. And ultimately, it's up to you to change what you need to change. It is all about your attitude here. You can continue to dwell like the girl in the Nine of Swords is doing and agonize over things that went wrong in the past, or you can contemplate on what went wrong in the past, make a choice that will change your future and turn it around for the better. Basically, this is saying that your state of mind and your happiness is in your own hands. And then we have the Magician. The Magician is a major arcana card. The major arcana represent big life events. They represent metaphysical, spiritual stuff. They represent the big overarching themes of life. And the smaller suits, the minor arcana, represent kind of the everyday and the mundane. So the Magician being number one indicates the beginning of a major spiritual cycle. When I pulled these cards, I was asking for guidance about 2021, guidance about the upcoming year, but also about entering the age of Aquarius. And I think this Magician card shows us that we're all going to be on a new path now that we've entered the age of Aquarius. and that we're going to be starting a new spiritual journey that takes us to our higher self. So let's read about the Magician a little bit. The Magician is a power card. It's all about the mage and the tools that the mage uses to change their situation and change their reality. So it is kind of symbolizing that we have everything in front of us that we need to change our situation, to change our world, and to make things better for ourselves. It's also primarily dealing with self-development and spiritual enlightenment, like I just said, because it's at the beginning of the major arcana. It doesn't necessarily mean that we are prepared with everything we need to control our environment, but that we have the tools and we have the knowledge to be able to learn how to control our environment. We can use what we're learning, what knowledge we're gaining, what tools are being set in front of us to get what we want out of a situation. So the Magician is about new beginnings, new choices, kind of like the Five of Cups. And it is indicating someone who is willing and able to manipulate a situation to achieve their desired ends. It represents ambition, desire, action, leadership potential. The tools for whatever action you desire are already at hand, as is the knowledge for using them correctly. It is time to evaluate the tools you have at your disposal and relate them properly to your aims. So I think that this spread is very much a past, present, future spread. I don't normally lay things out in a specific way. I just kind of pull what feels right. But this is definitely a past, present, future kind of deal. So the Nine of Swords was us in 2020. We are anguished. We are regretting things that have gone wrong. We are thinking back on how painful this year was for a lot of us, and we are dwelling. We're afraid to step into 2021 with all of this baggage hanging over our heads. Now, this is us right now as the new year approaches. We have some opportunities in front of us. We could continue to let the pain we felt in 2020 affect us in 2021, or we can choose to take the coping mechanisms we learned in 2020 and bring them with us into 2021. Now, if we follow the advice of the Five of Cups and we look at the cups half full, we make a choice to better ourselves and to not brood and let all of this pain hang over our head and let us become stuck in a cycle of regret and living in the past. We can start to become the Magician. The Magician, again, is someone who is at the beginning of a spiritual journey, is someone who has the tools and the power to get done what they need to get done. They have the knowledge and the desire and the willpower to manipulate a situation to benefit them, and the power to manifest. The Magician is a very powerful manifester. They have everything they need at their disposal to gain what they need to gain. And this person is becoming enlightened. This person is working on self-development. So this is very much the beginning of the age of Aquarius. And I think this is a good indicator for 2021. I think this shows that we are all going to be doing a lot of growing and that we're all going to come out of 2021 much better, more developed people. Now, I want to pull just one card from my Oracle deck. And I want to ask, what is one step that we can take towards becoming the Magician? It's one step that we can take towards becoming the Magician. What is one step that we can take towards becoming the Magician? It's one step we can take towards becoming the Magician. And we got the full moon, which says surrender to the divine. I think that just surrender to the divine speaks very much to the Magician. But let's see what it has to say. New moon, waxing, first quarter, gibbous, full moon. Okay, here we go. Okay, so I'm going to read this to you guys and then I'll give you my spin on it. The very word climax brings all sorts of ideas and images to mind, but it is But it really is the feeling of this card. Life is coming to a head, a point, a conclusion, or a turning point. There may be some kind of change, possibly even some sort of emotional explosion. Tune into your emotions now to see what they're telling you. They're very likely close to the surface no matter when in the moon cycle you've pulled this card. Matters will soon conclude and you'll find out whether or not your wishes are going to come true. The odds are in your favor as this is a positive card, but you may need to work harder than usual to keep cool as events unfold. The mantra for this card is, I am getting the answers I need, which I think is very poignant for the Magician, because the Magician has all the tools and knowledge they need. And it's some additional meaning says it's make or break time. There could be a sense of madness in the air. Breathe deep and stay calm. You may need to forgive someone else to release negative energy. It's time to let go of the past and move on. So that is a common theme through this thread. The Nine of Swords is asking us to be honest with ourselves and confront what is really causing us all this pain. Be honest and move forward from it. The Five of Cups is asking you not to live in the past and to make a choice to better yourself. And the Magician is telling you that you have all the tools and knowledge that you need to be a better, more enlightened, more developed person. And this full moon card is telling us that this is a powerful card. It is the culmination of something we've been working on. It's telling us that things are going to conclude, aka 2020. 2020 is about to be over, and we're heading into brighter, more positive times. And we may have to do some self-development work, but we're still going to end up better than we were this year. Wow, I love that for us. So yeah, these are your cards today. Nine of Swords reversed, Five of Cups, the Magician. And what do we do to become the Magician? We accept that things are going to be ending, and we understand that it's time to let go of the past and move into a new cycle. All right, that is all I have for you today. Thank you so much for sitting through this reading with me. Make sure to go listen to the Conscious Communications podcast when our episode comes out. I know she's already released a few, so go listen to the past episodes too. Shout out to Kay for having me on her podcast and asking me to do this reading for you guys. And I hope that these messages resonate with you. I hope this reaches whoever it needs to hear. And I am wishing you love and light as we move into 2021.